What is it like to feel like a completely different person in just 1 year? First off, cheers while I drink my TCM beverage. So this is something that I've been drinking after I have my period. So after you end your period, this is a concoction of herbs to help you restore your blood and your vitality. Don't ask me what's in it. I really don't know what's in it, but Wilson's mom is like friends with a Chinese doctor, and so I've been doing this. I feel like a completely different person than who I was a year ago, and I haven't been posting as much about my personal life on YouTube, and I thought it was overdue that I just do a sit down chat and just talk about where I am now, how far I've come in the past year. Just a year ago, I was feeling like I was at the edge of the end of a chapter and at the beginning of a new chapter, but I wasn't quite sure what it was or how it would unfold. I spent a solo trip going to Korea and China. I visited my dad after 6 years. I made a video about it, but that was also a very healing experience where I felt like through our conversations and talks, I was able to get everything off my chest, say everything that I ever wanted, and also ask all the questions that I ever wanted. And going through that experience, it really was like a huge internal breakthrough for me, where when I came back from that trip, I felt the most empowered I had ever felt. And it just felt so amazing. I felt like there was nothing more for me to be afraid of because no one else in my life was as scary as my dad was, as facing those big fears that I've had all my life. And so that's like an example of an experience that happened last year that kind of, I felt like it kickstarted my confidence in just like going full force into the uncertain and into the unknown. Because just a couple months after that, I put out a survey and a video asking you guys, if I were to create an app, what would you want from me? And I got the idea of resonance, creating an app for my meditations, affirmations, kind of like a sound sanctuary with sound healing. And it was just an idea literally less than a year ago. I think it came to me in June. And in June is when I started exploring vibe coding, prototyping using AI and be like, okay, how does this work? I learned a lot. Honestly, it was like the year before, 2024, that I already had this feeling that I wanted to do something new, something different. And I was exploring tech, but it was nothing more than just an exploration. And it really was like about a year ago in June that I really locked in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit, I'm going to do this, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And so since June, we've been designing, developing, working on the app, and I launched it in February, technically. The app has been live and running for the past 3 months. I have felt such a change, such a shift in identity from last year to now because of obviously how I've been spending my time. I've been doing something completely new with a completely new team and putting my energy into just building this new thing and seeing it come to life, having a vision and seeing it come to life. And it really gave me so much new inspiration. It helped me release so much of what I was holding on to from my previous identity as a YouTuber, creator, or influencer. And it really helped me let go of the things that don't really matter, but the things that I held on to so strongly. For example, I'm pretty sure you've noticed, but I'm now at a place where I don't feel like I have to post videos consistently because it's not what defines me anymore. As a creator and influencer, like if you were to hold on to that identity, like creating and outputting content, being seen consistently is kind of like tied to your sense of self-worth. Previously in my creator mindset, I had to tie how often and how consistent I was with showing up with my success, with my worth, because if you stopped posting, people would stop watching and then your income goes down, and there is kind of like being seen and creating and outputting equates to survival for a creator's lifestyle. For a while, it was working that way and things were flourishing that way, but in the past 2 years, I noticed that that's not the way I wanted to live my life anymore. I did not want to force the output consistently. I do not want to feel like my worth was tied to how many people were seeing my content or how the numbers were doing. And I really wanted to be able to build something that was stronger, more long lasting, and something that I didn't have to like show up and consistently create and be outputting all the time, because we are not machines. Like, humans are not machines. And I think after creating content consistently for like over a decade, you get to a point where you're like, this is just a hamster wheel, and I'm not going to keep creating at this rate for the sake of creating, for the sake of staying afloat. I feel like being a creator sometimes feels like you're just like dog paddling in water and you just can't stop. Like, yeah, you can take a break, maybe you can like hold on to a floaty, but after a while you still have to keep dog paddling, and everyone around you is like dog paddling and swimming and creating. Like, it could be fun for some people who are new at it, and maybe some people who are like really passionate in that zone, but I felt like I have matured past that zone of dog paddling, of hamster wheeling. And so I really wanted to create a life where I want to be creative on my own terms, at my own pace, in my own flow, with my own energy, meaning I don't have to force it all the time. And in order to do that, I needed a new system. I needed a new container. I needed something that could be my business where I don't have to create constantly the way it is for like a creator on YouTube. You guys have probably noticed, but I haven't done a brand deal in a year as well. Literally the past decade, my main income as a creator was brand deals. That's how YouTubers make money. We make some money from the ads that you see on the video. We make most of the money from brand deals. I make some money from my shop, like the Artist of Life workbook, but this, I would say like most years it's good and some years it's just break even. It's like hit or miss. And so I really just needed something different. And so that led me down the path of let's create something that can live on without me, and let's create something that can be a container that can help people in their day-to-day without me having to show up and create consistently every single day or every single week. So now I'm in a place where I feel so much more free. I feel less tied to needing to show up all the time online. I have less of a need for the numbers to be amazing all the time. I understand that there are the ebbs and flows in my business and in my life. I call it like you have your expansion years and then you have your contraction years. And it's actually in your contraction years where those are the years where you can do more self-reflection and decide, do I still want this? And if I do not, then what else is out there for me? How can I pivot? How can I find what else is new for me? What else fits the current version of me better? That's what I call this process of like consistently staying aligned. And as you consistently stay aligned to what you want right now, you naturally evolve, you naturally grow. Because the truth is, if you are staying true to yourself and what you want, you're not gonna want the same things forever. Things will change. You will change. Your values will change. The way you spend your time might change. Of course, there's always gonna be those core, very core things that we wanna have in our lives. We want joy, love, family, friends, just beautiful experiences. Of course, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about how you reach those core emotions that you want. What brought me joy 10 years ago is not what might bring me joy now. And what inspires me like now is not what used to inspire me back then. And I can't force myself to continue creating the same way I used to or continue being the same person that I used to, because I have changed. I am just different. My energy is different. I feel much more relaxed and much more at ease with everything that I do. And this is a big part of what I've been working on in terms of like holding the expansion and the growth in my life, like feeling safe through expansion. I made a diary of becoming video about feeling safe upon expansion. It's basically learning nervous system regulation, which is huge. So I really have been working on that, and I feel like even though things are still uncertain and difficult and I'm going through ups and downs every day, I have a greater sense of like safety and peace, and it's all going to be okay. So I don't have to like rush. I don't have to stress myself out about anything, because if it's important, it's going to get done. I will get to it. It will happen. Like, I don't have to be like this energy. I think sometimes, I used to have that like anxiety energy, that energy of like, oh my God, I must do this right now, and this sense of urgency and the sense of control. And I think so much of nervous system regulation is practicing feeling safe through it all and releasing that need to control, releasing that need to like act right away on your impulses and just be like, it's fine. So I'm really now at a place where if I feel tired, I will take a nap. I will choose not to work, and I will just push it to tomorrow. I just flow with my energy. And I know there are some days where my energy is amazing and I get so much done in a day. And then there are other days where it's just not working for me and the energy is not there. And so I allow myself to not work. I allow myself to lay around, to watch TV, read a book, to do nothing. I allow myself without feeling guilty. And I truly don't feel guilty because I know like it's just one of those days, and I will have another time, another phase where the energy is higher, and it's okay. In life, I feel like you have to experience the two extremes in order to then recalibrate and find the right balance for you. Very beginning of my YouTube journey, before I started Lavendaire, I was very like flaky and not good with being consistent. So when I started Lavendaire, I made it a point to be consistent, to post every single week, to show up, to have a schedule, to have a routine. And I had to learn how to be consistent. I had to learn how to commit and have a routine and follow through. And so I felt like I had a structure, a really good structure for a while. And then I had some years where I totally just like let it out the window. Like just stop, just pause everything, don't post, don't do anything. And I went on that extreme of being a little bit too soft, too like flowy, nothing was happening, and I was feeling lower and lower. I've been there too. And so now I feel like I understand my energy, I understand myself, and I understand where to draw certain boundaries and where to let myself have freedom and ease. And so that's why I feel like I've gotten to a place where it's easier for me to flow with my energy and to follow my energy where it goes, because I know I'm not gonna veer off too much where I'm gonna lose myself. So I think that's the key, is that when someone who is like an amateur, who hasn't like gone through the practice and the rigor and the routine, they hear the advice of just follow your energy. When you have the energy, do it. When you don't have the energy, don't. Someone might not have the discipline to understand where the edges are. So that's why I had to remind you that sometimes lessons have so much nuance, and you can't take it like for face value. You have to know that everyone is different and everybody has to experience the range in order to find the perfect balance and structure of what works for them. Another change I felt in this identity shift is caring so much less about being liked. And that's something that I struggled with for a lot of my life. I am like more of a people pleaser, used to care more about, I don't know, being liked or being approved, being accepted, not like rocking the boat too much, like anti-confrontation type of person. And now I'm just less afraid. Now I just fully embrace myself and I feel okay with just being myself, because at the end of the day, I like me. Like, I love myself. I support myself. I got my own back. Everything that I do, I can stand behind because I support me. So if I'm my own biggest fan, like, why would I be afraid to like express myself in any way? So I felt less of that, like, oh, I'm worried about what people think. Ooh, that kind of looks weird. Like, I feel less of that now. I think it comes with age, more self-love, self-confidence, just feeling so much more self-worth as you get older. But it's obviously also because of like the internal work that I've been doing all of these years. changing my thoughts, changing my self-talk, and really supporting myself the entire way. And I think the more you embrace yourself, the more you love yourself through your journey, like you're just going to continue making the best decisions for yourself. You're going to make the choices to support your greatest good. And if you live that way, there's no way you will be unhappy because you are living for yourself. You are putting yourself first. Everything that I do, every choice, every decision that I make is for my best interest. It's for my happiness. It's for my success. It's all for me. And so I don't regret anything. And I love living life that way. And I realize this is how life should be lived. And most people do not live that way. Most people let so many judgments and insecurities get in the way. That's also why I feel much more free in my life. I feel so much love and support for myself. And so if I have a dream, if I have a desire, I will do whatever it is to get there because I support myself. I support my dreams. I support my desires. It sounds obvious. Like, to me, it's obvious now, but I know that my younger self, it was not obvious then. So yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no reason to be afraid of not being liked or being cringe, because if you like yourself, if you can support yourself in all that you do, in all that you are, all the ways you choose to express yourself, then you're good. Of course, we all still have flaws and weaknesses that we can work on to improve, but self-love is embracing all of that too. Like, I don't cringe at my weaknesses and the parts that are not perfect because I know that's a work in progress. The difference between an artist that looks at their art like, oh, that's so bad, I don't want to look at it, right? You know how a lot of artists, they don't want to see their work because it's so cringe, because it's not ideal. It's a difference between that versus someone looking at that same piece of art being like, it's not great, but I learned this from this. It's a work in progress. I acknowledge that it could be better objectively, but this was my very best at the moment, and I embrace that. And there's a different energy there. You're not judging yourself anymore. I don't judge myself as hard anymore as I used to. And when you judge yourself less, you also judge other people less. You understand that everybody else is just doing their best. Everybody is an imperfect human being. I just feel more allowing to myself and more allowing to others. Let me know down below, how do you feel like you've changed the most in this past year? Give me a before and after. Who were you a year ago and who are you now, and how are you different? I'd love to know. I also think that when you have less of that need to prove yourself anymore, and you have developed that level of self-love for yourself, then you can truly show up as your most confident, glowing, and relaxed self in every single room that you enter. And I've found that makes you even more magnetic than ever before, because I think it's that relaxed energy of just knowing you are great, knowing you have some value, some worth, right? Knowing you are worthy, knowing you are lovable, knowing you are loved, and loving yourself. People feel that. And I think naturally that has brought more opportunities to me. I feel like I just used to have more anxiety and more ooh, I care about this, I care about that. Because you care, you have this anxious energy around it. I feel like now I'm able to be more relaxed everywhere I go and more trusting. I love myself, I believe in myself, I will show up as my best self in this moment, and if it goes well, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Maybe that's how it was meant to go. I'm not too hard on myself. To sum it up, it's more a state of relaxation, ease, and confidence. It doesn't mean that I'm trying less. It doesn't mean that I'm working less hard than I used to. I have a lot of goals, right? So I am still working towards something every day, but I have less pressure that I put on myself. I have less pressure to achieve something by a certain deadline. I just have less of that control, that need for control, that need for I must get this done. This must happen. This must happen. I feel like I'm more flowy with life. I'm more accepting, allowing, trusting, relaxed, Sometimes I do care a little bit too much, but ultimately, compared to who I was before, very different, more chill. Let me know if you have any questions for me, if you have anything that you want me to talk about in this casual sit-down style. I think most of my videos will probably be in this style now, where it's just me sharing my thoughts and ideas on a topic. I don't think I'm gonna do vlogging as much. Diary of Becoming, I'm taking a break because apparently the format doesn't do so well. I think I will do it when I am inspired. So again, the theme of my YouTube and my life right now is if I have the energy and the inspiration for it, I will do it. Otherwise, I have like my cornerstone projects that I am focused on. So I am focused on resonance, creating content for resonance and promoting resonance. Number 2 is working on my book. I say that, I won't say anymore because it's like such a project I've been procrastinating on. And then 3rd is working on the next version of the Artist of Life workbook. Yes, we already started. I already have the colors set. I might tease the colors earlier this year because I kind of want to understand what percentage of colors I should order. Like, should I do more of one color over the other? I think those are my 3 main priorities for the rest of this year, honestly. That's gonna be my life this year, and when I have the inspiration and the creative drive, I will share something on YouTube. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!